In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Story time! Who doesn't like a good story? Hello guys, and welcome back to yet another video. I'm your host Feva Shwali, and this is Grateful Planet. Today's video, just as you have seen from the title, is something really near and dear to my heart because I'll be sharing with you guys my faith story and why I believe in God. As I always say in almost all my videos, we are different human beings, and as a result, we all have different beliefs. And when it also comes to God, that applies. My beliefs of God can be different from your beliefs of God, and that's actually fine. All I want to say is just let's keep it respectful when I share with you guys what I'm about to share with you in this video. That being said, I believe in the God of the Bible, and shortly I will explain why. So a quick background story. I grew up in a religious, semi-religious family. It was a Christian household, and my grandparents, I grew up with my grandparents, and my grandparents were highly religious, and they instilled Christianity in me. Shout out to my grandma and my mom for trying their best to instill Christianity in my life. And I appreciate that, for setting that foundation in my life. I appreciate it so much. I, however, did not connect to the faith as much because I always felt like I was required to do certain things, not something that I was willing to do. I don't know if you get my point. Like, for instance, I always felt like praying, going to church, reading my Bible, all these things felt like they were a chore instead of them being something I was just willing and happy to do. I always felt like all those things that were associated with godliness and the Bible and things like that, they were always a bit boring for me, and I was really not interested in it. Hence, I was not as connected to the faith as I ought to be. So yeah, that's how I grew up, going to church every Sunday, reading my Bible occasionally, praying, because my grandma would always make us pray every evening as a family. We gathered in the sitting room to pray for prayers. If you do not pray, there were consequences. Fast forward to when I became a teenager, still the same things happening. The lack of connection between myself and the faith, God. I didn't really know who God was as I was supposed to know him. I just had a perception of who he is and who I'm supposed to refer to him as. Like, I used to know God from a person's perspective or a person's experiences. I never experienced God personally. So who my grandma told me God is, that's who I believed. Who the pastor said God is, that's what I believed. I never took it to myself to actually decide and know who is God, who is the creator of this universe. It was really uninteresting to me, and I felt like it was old, boring, not fun, and to be honest, I felt forced until 2020. In 2020, something really major happened to me that twisted my whole perspective and my whole view on life, if I can say, because that was the first time I was at my lowest point in 2020. I graduated with my bachelor's in the year 2020 when it was ending in November, and it's expected when you graduate, you know, the experience is supposed to be very happy and jolly and just nice positive vibes. But for me it was not the same because I went through something very dark and there was no one there for me at that time. And I cannot blame anyone because you know how sometimes you push people away, even without knowing, you're pushing them away. Like, you're going through something and people's advice or people's presence is not what you need. That's when you know there's something deeper that you crave. You don't want anyone's advice, you don't want anyone's sympathy, you don't want anyone's presence, as much as that would maybe help you at that point, but you would not. So in that time, that's when I had the worst depression episode ever in my life, and that's called the post-graduation depression. For those who don't know what that is, it's depression that comes right after you graduate. You know, you're used to school life and everything to do with school. Your life is literally wrapped around school life, and then now you just got done with school, and then you don't know what else to do with your life, because all your schedules, your time, etc., all that was planned by school, and then now you're just left to the world to figure everything out as a young adult. So I was very lost. I didn't know what next. I felt like the world is so huge, I don't know where to go. And the worst part is I didn't need anyone's presence. I didn't want anyone around me, so no one was there for me, because I used to push people away. I pushed people away at that point. I didn't really feel the need to be around people. I wanted something else. I didn't know what it was. I wanted something else, not people around me. And that is when I got to know God, because I went deeper in myself and tried to understand what it is I'm feeling and what it is I have to do to get myself out of that rut. And that's when I started asking questions like, what is life all about? Like, we are not here just to wake up, eat, sleep, repeat. Wake up, eat, work, sleep, repeat. That cycle, I refused to believe that's the cycle, because now I started asking myself all these questions like, what is life about? Why am I here? What is humanity in the first place, you know? So I started asking myself all these questions, because I felt like there was something bigger than me, that life is something huge, something bigger than all of us, if I'm being honest. That's when I started digging deep and actually seeking God, trying my best to find who God is. And the Bible says, if you seek him diligently, you will find him. If you seek God diligently, you will definitely find him. If you draw closer to him, he will draw closer to you. There's this saying that says, out of the hardest and most difficult places, that's where beautiful things are born. You know, like your challenges have a purpose, things like that. Difficulties have a purpose. So this was one of those points where I can attest to and say, yes, if it was not for me going through what I went through, I wouldn't have known this path of following who God is and knowing who God is. So for me, I had to experience this hard part so that I can now even share with you guys what I experienced. So I'm grateful for that. That being said, here are the reasons why I believe in God. And number one is unexplainable peace, joy, happiness, satisfaction, understanding. Those are things that made me believe that indeed there is God. Because guys, how can you go through something really traumatic, something really terrible, and still come out of it unbothered? You know what I mean? Like, you're still at peace, even though your world is shattering. Everywhere you look around, you're still at peace, you're still joyful, you're still happy. There is unexplainable strength in you. These things that I couldn't explain, like the peace I had, even despite things falling apart around me or things going on around me and I cannot explain, that proves to me already that there is God, and gives me more reason to believe in him and know that he is real. Because when no one was there for me, I still had that peace. When no one was there for me, I could still find that peace. I could still be still and talk to God. And because he knows my heart, he knows me more than my physical state. You know, humans can just judge you from your looks, from who you are. But God, he looks at your heart. He searches your heart. The Bible says he searches your heart. So he knows your heart. He knows who you are. You can be two-faced and change and act something different to people, and people will believe you. But just know there is a God who can see your heart and know you way deeper. So yeah, just the concept of unexplainable peace, strength, joy and things like that I can't explain, that don't even make sense, but they still apply to me. That already says that there is indeed God. The next reason why I believe in God is unexplainable things that cannot be explained through human logic. Things like dreams. Guys, it's like we are going to a very different world when we sleep. Where are we going to? Just think about it. Think about it. Where do you go when you sleep? Your dreams, where do you go to? Things like that. Logic can't explain it. I mean, science explains a couple of things, and yeah, they might have gotten away with the creation theory, where we came from, the origin, but that's just about it. They can explain that and, the human biology and things like that. But other than that, things like, where do we go after we leave Earth? Really, where did we come from? Like, how did it all start? As much as it has some reasoning regarding all this, it still doesn't drive the point home, because I have done my own studies, I have done my own research, but still, science doesn't explain the need for meaning that all of us human beings have. We always search for meaning and we want to do something with our lives. We crave that. Can science explain that? Human logic can't explain that. There's some things we were given by God that we can't explain. So such things that I myself, when I sit down and think about, and I'm a thinker, I can't even come up with reasoning or solutions. Control, like we can have plans and say this is what we want to do, but then something happens and changes everything. I don't know if something like that has ever happened to you. I'm sure as human beings, things like this have happened to you. You plan something, but then it all flops. Everything flops and changes differently completely. Who controlled that? People say, oh, you're the controller of your universe, you're the control of your life and etc. To some extent, but there is something major than you, something that you cannot control yourself. So like how things happen, nature, like things, coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that you are supposed to meet certain people, you're supposed to experience some certain experiences and learn certain lessons in this lifetime. It's all part of your journey, your unique journey in life. Such things that science can't explain already tell me that indeed there is someone higher than all of us, all-knowing, like the one who controls the uncontrollable. Because as humans, we really like controlling things. And there's a Bible verse that says, as humans, we have so many plans, but it is God who actually fulfills the plan. Certain things, like unexplainable things, already prove to me that that is God, and that already gives me a reason to believe in God. And there's so many things, because I've not explained all those things that are in my heart, but nature itself, the system going down and coming up of the sun, rising and setting of the sun, who controls that, the seasons, all these unimaginable, all these beautiful things that we take for granted, like we're like, it's normal. Is it really? The moon, have you ever just stared at the moon? Or the sun, have you ever just stared at the sun and just wondered, like, wow, where did this come from? Like, one globe can light up the whole world, and how huge this world is. You get my point? So yeah, asking myself such questions, I just have to ask myself such questions. I can't just ignore them. And some people believe in the universe, and again, I don't blame you, or I respect what you believe, but you're giving credit to the creation, not the creator, because the universe was created by a creator. So it's like you're looking at, there's an analogy where someone, I think China, an actress from the United States gave this analogy. She said, it's like you are giving credit to a painting, and you're like, wow, this painting is skillful, this painting is talented, instead of saying, wow, the artist of this painting is very skillful and talented, because they're the ones who created this masterpiece. So we are living in that masterpiece, but instead of, giving all the glory and all the joy and all the reverence and all the credit to the maker who created it, we are busy, lost and confused in this world and this creation, that we forget who the maker is. I don't know if I'm making sense. And again, I don't mean to be offensive. I'm just trying to drive this point home. Okay, the next thing, just the wonder of life. Just the wonder of life. Like, what is life? What is life really? Like, have you ever sat down, like literally just sit down away from the noise and how the world is fast and everything? You're always busy, something needs your attention every time. Like, if it's not school, it's work. If it's not work, your family. If not family, friends. Not friends, your hobbies, etc. Like, there's something that demands your attention. But have you ever closed that? Have you ever silenced all that noise and just been by yourself and asked yourself, what is life really? Yeah, what is life really? Like, just think about it. Comment down below in the comment section. What do you think life is all about? When you say, this is my life, this is our lives, what do you mean by that? Like, sometimes I even wonder, because as human beings, we just most of the times we're just into the physical aspect of things, but we don't look at the spiritual things, all this stuff. Why are we all experiencing this, and why at this specific time? Because if you look at history, how the people were living in the past and how we are living right now, very different. We have technology right now, we have advancements. Why didn't you exist in the past, in that time, and why do you exist now? And why are you here? What is your life all about? Have you contributed something to someone, or what are you doing with your life to improve yourself or to become a blessing to yourself and to others? Such things already show me that there is God. Like, he's the one who invented this whole concept of life and the concept of time. Like, why do we have limited time? Why don't we have unlimited time? Why do we have a specific amount of time on earth and then we leave? And when we leave, where are we going to? Such things means already that there's someone greater than all of us, that he's watching over all of us. And something else is the miracle of human beings, the miracle of you, like you personally. Have you ever, let me just give you this activity. Go to the mirror and just stare at yourself. Look at all the details of your face, your eyebrows, your skin, your teeth. Just stare at yourself and look at yourself deeply. That's a miracle. Like, how your eyes very brilliantly shaped, your nose, hand, like a very well sculpted, your mouth, nice shape, like your face, all these details on your face. Look at yourself and just sink and soak in that wonder, that miracle. Because sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, whoa, miracle. I'm looking at a miracle, like, wow. Sometimes I shock myself when I look myself in the mirror. Look at yourself, like really look at yourself and know that you're not here by mistake. Like, you're a miracle walking, So there's that already shows and proves to me that there is God. Because yeah, we are all perfectly made, our image and our likeness from him. All these things, when I think about them, when I try to mesmerize and just figure stuff out, I can't figure it out. And that already proves to me that God is real. There's someone who is all-knowing. He knows all these things that we can't know, that the science can't explain. God knows them. So I believe in God in all those things, and for all the things He has done for me, for all the prayers I have said that He listens to, for who He is generally, for giving me this life. That's the end of the video, guys. And I don't mean to have maybe scared you or frightened you in any way, but these are just things I want you to think about and just ask yourself sometimes, and just try to figure it out. Why do you think you're here? And do you believe in God? And if you don't, why not? So let me know in the comment section if this is something valuable to you, if it's something you've ever thought about or not. And other than that, stay blessed by the best. Peace.